Hello and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we got a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature podcast. Like I got like so many fan mail letters like talking about our Patreon where it was just saying like love your Patreon. We just can't get enough of it. So I
Hmm.
mean, if you, I mean, make sure you send us a letter on our fan mail to the address that we have listed on our Patreon, and send us your fan mail and just let us know how much you love the Patreon. See what the people are talking about over there.
Yeah, so many people.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't know how many because I've seen all these letters I got, but
Yeah, your mailbags. I imagine you're like Santa Claus bringing in sacks of letters.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that scene in Sorcerer's Stone, where it's just like letters flying into my mail slot.
You mean Harry Potter? Oh yeah, yeah, you mean sorry, you mean Philosopher's Stone,
Oh,
Ryan?
true. Yeah. How could I? I
Hmm.
forgot we were in England, but anyway,
Oh wait, we're not talking about Bond anymore. Sorry.
yeah. But it is only $5 a month to check over for exclusive content over there. It does not affect any of the regular content over here. So, anyway, today we're going to be talking about 1968's Gamera versus Virus, and that is directed once again by Noriaki Yuasa. This is the second. Sorry, no, this is the fourth camera movie.
Whoa.
No, this is the fourth. Well, there's a reason why I said that, but this is called the fourth camera movie right now that's made by Daiei. Yuasa is this is his third time in the director's chair, but he's been involved in all four of them. Last time we spoke, Daiei was not doing so hot in terms of financial records, and this one is no exception. Just to give you an idea of how dire things were, this movie was shot on basically of a budget of about $50,000.
Oh, you can tell. Which is
So
crazy for a Gamera movie.
yeah, I mean, this one, like Gamera, they're really not. Gauss didn't perform like the way they wanted it to, and they really wanted to keep it going. But like I said, Daya was just kind of like, we don't really have the budget for this type of thing. We can give you this amount. So, what's the tried and true method of any kaiju movie, Nathan? Use stock footage, of course.
Yes. Woo. Yeah, my favorite of the Godzilla
Yeah,
movies are the stock footage
well,
ones.
yeah. Any of them that had reuses scenes. I'm almost surprised we didn't see that scene of from the the War of the Gargantuas, where it's
The
like below the
trees.
sea with the trees.
Oh man, when I think of stock footage movies, that's what I think of that scene.
Yeah, because you see that scene like 100 times in different Toho movies. But
Yeah.
this is Daya. I guess they couldn't have the rights to that iconic scene.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this one is uh, pretty simple affair. It's very. I mean, the last one, Gauss, like as violent as it was, it did feature a child protagonist, and this one is no exception. In fact, this one I would say is even more
Hmm.
childlike, even
It kind of
even as much as the other one was.
Yeah, and not as much as Mothra or anything, but it kind of reminded me of a Disney movie in a way when it started. Very child friendly couple. It stars two boys, and it's kind of about them like hanging out, just doing shenanigans for a little bit.
Yeah, it's it the opening of this movie though is pretty funny because it's an alien spaceship out in outer space, and they're kind of surveying Earth and thinking like, hey, this Earth planet's looking pretty good. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, Gamera just smashes right into their ship. Like I got a big chuckle out of me
I
because
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
No, I loved it. I also love how silly their ship is. It's like a spinning like
Like
spaceship with like yellow balls
it looks
on
like
it.
yeah, it looks like a bumblebee or something.
Yeah, it looks like a bumblebee. It's really silly, but I kind of liked it. Yeah, but I love the way Gamer like smashes his head into it.
His head shoots into the spaceship, and it's just like
Mhm.
and they're like, "Whoa, we didn't know Gamera was here. Like, we're gonna have to send another spaceship over there to deal with this whole thing."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they like it's Gamera, our worst enemy, our mortal enemy. So yeah, that's the kind of how we get started with this movie because the ship gets destroyed.
Yeah, and the ship gets destroyed, and the main setting of this movie is it's a Boy Scout jamboree.
It's just so funny. Yeah, it's like Boy Scouts. It's so funny. I was looking at the opening cast and I saw I think it was Carl Craig in
Yeah.
there, and I was like, oh gotcha. It's another one
The,
of these that features a white person.
so yeah, I mean, if there's anything this movie does, it features the most iconic Gamera character, which of course is Jim.
Yeah, Jim Morgan of all
And,
people.
like you, it's a little boy with the blonde hair and blue eyes, and
Mm.
he uh, he does speak Japanese in this one, and they it's like they everyone just calls him Jim because he's just Jim. So they're like, oh, they'll be saying the lines and oh, Jim, Jim.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like how his character kind of like swaps between Japanese and English. Like he'll speak like great Japanese, but then he'll throw in like a okay and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I did watch this movie twice.
Okay.
I watched the regular version, and I also listened to the audio commentary, which actually had the actor who played
No
Jim
way. That's
on there.
really cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Oh man, he
So
must be really old now.
I think he said he was like 8 or 9. So that
Oh,
was
okay.
so. I mean, he's probably like he's probably like 60 something, maybe close to the 70s at this point.
That's
But
cool. How was he? Like, did he have
yeah,
interesting things?
yeah. I mean, I listen to the commentaries a lot of times because they offer a lot of historical context or like letting know about the studio. This one really wasn't so much about that. It was more so about the actor himself and like his personal anecdotes with
Hmm.
this movie. So, he didn't really have a whole lot of behind the scenes information about like financials or anything with like the Dai stuff. But suffice to say, it's not really doing so good with Dai. We don't really need him to explain that.
No.
But at the same time, he spoke about it. He said when they were filming this movie, one of the things that Yuasa was kind of looking for was he did want an American child because I guess the American broadcasting that had the rights to it, which was American International Television, they had been asking for an English actor in the movie, and Yuasa wanted it to be more kid centered. So basically, they were wanting a little boy that was American and could speak Japanese. So
Hmm.
they found one boy, which was his name, which is played by Carl Craig, the guy that plays Jim. And they found him on an army base because his dad is an American soldier, white, and his mom is actually Japanese. So he's actually half Japanese.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. It's funny because in the movie, his mom is white and his dad is Japanese.
Well, actually, that guy was they asked that question because that guy is not Japanese. That guy is white,
Oh,
apparently.
he is? Oh my God, I didn't think so. Interesting. Oh, so they just gave him two white parents.
I guess so because didn't want any doubt that this kid was not white. And like he is
Okay,
white, he's 100% white, but no,
gotcha.
he's half.
Interesting.
He's half. So, um, but yeah, they said that he spoke to Yuasa in about 30 minutes. They just offered him the role on the spot because they were just like, "Yep, perfect." Because I guess it was really hard to find like a kid that could do
Yeah,
that.
that's tough.
And I don't think he said he wasn't even like 100% great at speaking Japanese, and that when they would have to do shoots and stuff like that, they had to repeat a lot of the same
Mhm.
dialogue and moments, and he had to get like, his mom to help him like phonetically learn his lines sometimes.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's it's funny because that they were committed to that, and you could tell that it was really his voice because like in Toho they would have just been like, just get another man, just get a Japanese person to do the voiceover, just have him
Yeah.
dubbed, whatever. It's interesting that they committed to not dubbing him.
Yeah, but apparently he was dubbed in the English version, which I did not see. But
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw that was there's like three versions of this movie on the Blu-ray.
yeah, so there's we'll get into that. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's three different versions of this movie on the Blu-ray disc that we have.
Hmm.
But how the movie starts is like I said, that after the spaceship lands, it's like these two little boys at the Boy Scout Jamboree, Jim and his friend Masao.
So
Masao.
there we
Masao.
go. Okay, yeah.
Masao. Him and Jim are best friends, best buddies, and they decide to steal the submarine that's there. Like, and they just like they reverse the coil so that way it will start malfunctioning. And whenever they do have like a big demonstration for it, like the two top scientists are like, "Well, I can't figure it out," and this little kid just steps out like, "I can do it. I can fix this."
Yeah,
And
no,
they just
yeah.
let this kid like pilot this little
Oh my God.
submarine.
It's so funny because the guy who runs the Marine air, like society, and it's like, I don't know, it seems really dangerous. And the Boy Scout leader is like, oh, well, he is really good at fixing machines. I think you should let him drive it in the water. Okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, so they let these two unsupervised kids go in this untested, unpiloted submarine that's never been used, and
Mhm.
of course, they know right away because Masao, he is like a technical genius. He's able to build this like two-way communication device, like
Yeah.
wristwatch, like freaking Dick Tracy over here, like
Yeah,
like
yeah, and he
like
talks with his sister the whole
yeah,
time, which I love that dynamic. I don't know what it was. I love that he had like a sister who had a group of friends and they like just talk to each other. I don't know.
yeah.
It was an interesting little side thing.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this movie is it's a very easy going, it's a very light-hearted movie.
Yeah, and I thought I was really going to like it from the beginning here, and we'll get into where it goes into
Well,
after this.
yeah, so they do encounter Gamera underwater, and they're like, "Oh, it's Gamera," and like
Yeah, he's a
they're like,
child to our friend to all children.
"Yeah." I mean, like I said, any semblance of Gamera from the first movie gone. Like this is
Hmm.
like Gamera is just a big old goofy like hero now. Like he's a
Yeah,
good guy,
I
and
love him.
I know I honestly like I kind of like that they went like in a completely different direction than Godzilla. Which I mean, I
Hmm.
know they were kind of like headed towards that way with Godzilla, but that was never the intention. Like this
No,
one,
and even when Godzilla became child friendly, he still was kind of like grumpy. He was like the grumpy guy. But Gamera here, he's kind of silly.
yeah. I mean, he's got like these bloodshot eyes. They're like like they're yellow with like these red veins running through them, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, he's like such a happy guy.
I
Just,
know, but you can tell in his movements because they're racing. They race the
oh
submarine
yeah,
at him, and they're just racing, swimming next to each other. It's kind of funny.
and they're like, and he takes a picture of Gamera, and he's like, "I'll show it to Gamera later." I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I love that.
and they're like, "Okay, Gamera, we're gonna swim between your legs," and just like, and Gamera's like, "See you later."
Yeah, exactly. And it even gets to the point where both of them get trapped in the bubble. And like the kids are like, please, Gamera, we're going to die if you don't get us out. And Gamera, like, he lifts up the dome to let him squeeze out.
Gamera hurts himself to like Gamera's like getting electrocuted, like doing
Hmm.
this just to say protect these kids. That's how much
Yeah.
Gamera freaking loves these kids.
You know what? Good for him. Gamera. It's funny. At what age does Gamera go like, no, I don't really care about you anymore? Is there a cutoff?
Wait, wait, you're gonna tell me Gamera wouldn't save an adult?
I don't think so. The way this sounds is like
I don't like where this direction's
oh,
going.
I
You're
didn't mean
afraid.
it like that. I'm just saying, like he's good with kids.
You're
And
saying there's a certain age though, he's gonna be like, you can handle that on your own, buddy. Like,
yeah, see, you're an adult. You deal with it. You can deal
I'm
with
a
it.
friend of
Kids,
kids, not adults.
yeah. No, I
That's
don't.
exactly what you want. A full grown person needs to be told.
Yeah, a full-grown turtle.
Yeah. Well, we
Mhm.
don't know Gamera's age technically, but
What if he's a kid?
He could be a kid in turtle years. Turtles live a long time. It's like if you're under 100, that could be like kid for a turtle.
Yeah, there we go. He's like an adolescent. He like
Yeah.
they're friends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
Uh, but anyway, yeah, the kids do get abducted by the aliens, and so
Hmm.
this is where the part of the movie where diverts off to the different versions of this movie. So there are. I didn't watch the English for the U.S. version, so I don't know. It could be the same movie just with English dialogue. But I did watch both the regular edition and the extended edition. Which one did you watch?
I watched the theatrical, the regular.
Okay, so you saw
Yeah.
the shorter one.
Yeah,
Um,
which is what's the difference, I guess? You're gonna let me know.
well, there. Okay, so before the kids are abducted and they go through like the whole alien abduction subplot, is the long the aliens are like, okay, we got to research Gamera, and
Hmm.
in order to pad the runtime of this movie, there's an additional 15 to 20 minutes where it's just them rewatching the fights from Barugan and
Oh,
Gauss. Like it's the whole ending
oh.
sequences of both of those movies back to back.
And that's already in the shorter version, just a lot quicker. Oh, that's rough. Oh,
It's the whole fight from Gauss. Like they almost replay like every kaiju scene from Gauss at least.
that's bad. Yeah, see, that's my issue with this movie, and I'm sure it's a lot of people's issues. I like the setup. I like the kids. I think that's fun. Um, that's the stock footage use is just horrible. Oh my
I
God.
I will I mean I'm gonna say like watching them both back to back like that, like the theatrical version is the way to go because it flows much better. And I
Yes,
mean,
yeah.
you already know what Gamera is all about and what he's done by that point. And watching the to me, it's like watching the theatrical version like almost made it better after I watched the extended one because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's actually not that bad considering like
I got
eh,
you. Okay,
it's
yeah.
but I mean, they do reuse other shots in the theatrical version where it does show Gamera coming out of the ice, and it does show a little bit of the
Yeah.
fights from before, and it shows the dam sequence from Barugan
Yeah.
again.
That's when I really like tuned out because they take control of Gamera and they're like, Gamera, destroy this dam. And then it's like
Yeah,
a whole dam sequence from that
yeah,
movie. And I was kind of
exactly.
like, I'm a little tuned out. Like I was not
Yeah,
into this.
yeah. So it is it's a little repetitive, and they actually did interview in the commentary they asked Carl Craig that, and they said because he said he was like a big fan of Gamera actually when he was a kid,
Oh,
and he
that's
was
cool.
saying, yeah, he was saying like he remembers going to the theaters to watch the other three Gamera movies, and he actually remembers he would watch like Ultraman. He loved kaiju movies, so he
That's
was
cool.
already a big fan of it. So when he got offered the role, he was very excited about the whole thing. And
Hmm.
but he said though, like he never saw the finished product of the movie until like when he actually watched it at the premiere. And he was saying like when they would play like the Baragon and the Gauss thing, he was kind of like scratching his head. He's like, wait a minute, like that's just like the same scene. And he said, I just saw that movie like 2 years ago too. And just so it's I don't know exactly what the intention is behind it. Like I understand like it's to pad the movie, but at the same time, it's like okay, like what difference is? I mean, I'm guessing they're doing 90 minutes so that way that maybe they could do like a double bill or something. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know what the whole like why. I mean, I understand. Okay, if you don't want to make you want you. Why couldn't they just do like the 70 or 80-minute cut of the movie? Is what I'm trying to say. Like, why
No,
why did it
yeah, I
have to
agree.
be?
I don't understand why they wouldn't just go for a shorter version. Feels like they'd make a little bit more money just back to back hour-long showings.
The only thing I could think that they would do that is because they wanted more people to get your money's worth. Like, oh well, you for your movie ticket, you got to see a 90-minute movie or whatever. I mean, or I don't know, but to me, it just felt a little pointless. But
Yeah.
um, no, I mean, the main bulk of this movie is mainly the two boys on this spaceship together, and they're trying to figure out how to escape. And I kind of like a lot of the little sequences in here because they are kind of
Mhm.
silly, and it's a little unique. Like they see like one of the aliens like fly down on the hallway, like, oh, this must be the part where we can fly too. And they try to like fly, but they just end up falling over.
Yeah, no, I like that too. I think the stuff with them is it's really fun because for whatever reason, the aliens are like, hey, you can free roam around the ship. Whatever, you're safe to us, and they can go around. It's like I think I've referenced this on the show before, but the Spy Kids microwave, where you can ask for whatever food you want. The ship is kind of like that. You just ask for like, hey, I want a sandwich.
And yeah, they ask for like juice, and they're like, "Oh, this is the best juice I ever had," or like, "Oh, I want a sandwich," and sandwiches come out, and it was fun. They asked him about that too, and he said it was like the juice and the sandwiches were disgusting, and he said he didn't like eat or drink any of that stuff.
That's really funny, but that's like movie prop stuff. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I do like the part where they ask for apples, or like, okay, well, they won't give us any weapons, but maybe if we ask for apples, it'll give us a knife. And they're like, please give us some apples, but we only want unpeeled apples, and make sure you give us a knife. And they're like, and it just comes out as peeled apples. Like, darn it.
Yeah, and then they keep doing that again. I think it's really interesting the sequence where they go to the one back area and it has the caged monster as Viras, and it he they are like, oh, they're gonna take us to our planet and we're gonna put him in our zoo. And then like Virus is like, yes, nods his head at him. And it makes you think like, oh, he's a good guy. Unfortunately, the movie has like the verse's name, so he's not a good guy.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, I think this is the first time you've ever heard the enemy kaiju talk. Like he
Yeah.
actually has like a voice. When they do, I mean, like, because the boys, I mean, like I said, the main bulk of it is them trying, like them being captured, and they're figuring out a way to get off the ship, and they eventually do. They figure out because they have to like that they mess with these blocks on the ship, and it's able to get them back down to Earth, and um, at the point where like Virus is there, and Virus is like, I am going to kill Gamera. Like he has like a whole monologue.
I know, I love it. I love those sequences because it's really trippy towards the end whenever he does get out. And like he turns all of his human henchmen into little versions of him, and then they all move together and form to make a bigger version of him. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that one was a pretty cool moment. I mean, I was not expecting something like that because, like the alien ship. Well, I mean, because there's one thing I forgot to mention. Like when the boys are on the ship, they make like a whole big deal about we can't blow up the ship because like we can't like shoot missiles at the ship because there's two boys up there,
Mhm.
and basically like the aliens are holding these two boys hostage. Like, give us full control of the Earth, or these boys are gonna die. And I'm like thinking pragmatically here, like okay, it's two boys, and and even the boys themselves are like, shoot the ship down, like kill us, like we
Yes,
like
yeah.
whatever you got to do to protect Earth, we don't care.
Mhm.
And but then they're like, the United Nations calls in and says, don't blow up that ship, we can't let these two boys die.
Let the earth be taken over. It's fine. I thought that was really funny. I love this. His parents are there, and his mom is like, Jim, no, Jim. After hearing Jim just saying, kill us. Yeah, just go ahead and kill us. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Jim.
Yeah, there's something about the delivery that's really funny.
It's very clear. It sounds like she's dubbed, but
Yes, yes.
anyway, they do eventually get back down to Earth because they figure out how to get out. And before a virus like combines into like a giant version of virus, Gamera does uh, remove the mind control from his head, and he's able to once again burst his head through the
Hmm.
spaceship and shoots a flamethrower on all the aliens.
Yes, yeah, and burns them all. So yeah, we have the same repeat scene, but I didn't mind seeing that again. And finally, at the end of the movie, we do get an actual new monster fight in this movie.
Yeah,
Huh.
albeit there's not so much of the suited actors. There's a lot of puppet action though.
Yes.
It's like you could tell like It's not that much of the suit actors. It's a lot of puppets in this one. Like this one though, there's like an underwater sequence where like Gamera is chasing Virus underwater. I like the scene where you could see like Gamera's like little hand like gripping, like you could see it like you can see it's clearly like a human hand inside of like a Gamera claw thing. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
but it's so human like in its movements. It's so disturbing.
Yeah, there's like a few things. I think Virus is like just a disturbing monster when you look at him because he has those tentacles that come off of him, but obviously there's two legs in the middle of it. He looks like Squidward tentacles. Like he's just like
Yeah.
walking like a human. Like it's not even like any covering it up.
Well, I mean, it even has like a little hole on the end of his tentacles, like like it's like
Uh-huh.
where it's like there's like an opening in there. It's so gross looking, and
Yeah, I don't have to say what it looks like, but it looks gross.
yeah, it doesn't look pleasant. But there's some really funny moment. Like there's like the scene where it looks like Gamera's surfing on top of Virus, like in the
Love that. Yeah.
water. That it's like looks like he's a little jet ski.
Yeah, and he's like,
um,
wait, doesn't he wave, or am I just
I did
imagining
think,
this?
I don't think he weighs, but it does look really silly.
Okay.
But and this one, Virus's head is basically like a spike, and
Hmm.
this one probably features like the most gruesome thing I've seen in a kaiju movie, where
Hmm.
uh, Gamera's knocked out on his back, and then Virus just like jumps in the air and impales, like goes
Yeah.
straight through Gamera's body, and Gamera's like right in the middle of his torso. So it's not missing any vital organs, and like all
Yeah.
his limbs just shoot like straight out, like they're about to shoot out. And I'm like, oh my god, like
Yeah, and like blue blood is like squirting out of him too.
yeah.
No, I saw that, which is funny because this is even closer to like just a children's movie than this series ever has been. And of course, they find some way to get like this crazy violence in here.
Well, it's like Godzilla was trying to be like the adult oriented movie, and like this is and like these are kids' movies. Like they're way more gorier than like the Godzilla was at its worst in the
Yeah,
60s and 70s.
yeah, exactly. It's interesting, but it gets comical pretty fast because he gets his Virus does like the pointy head thing, and he gets his head stuck in a rock, so he's able to just kind of be thrown around because he's like stuck in that
Yeah,
position.
yeah, they throw them like they throw each other around because there's one where Virus just like throws Gamera, and you can see Gamera's whole body like sailing
Yeah,
in the air.
don't they do that shot twice? I think there's a few shots where they
They
just do
do,
it twice in a row. Yeah.
they do, yeah.
Hmm.
And but like I said, as Virus was impaling Gamera, the little kids are like shouting advice to Gamera, like Gamera, use your jets, fly
Yeah.
away.
They're like right there in the fight too, because they have the big projection screen of Gamera being right next to
Mm-hmm.
them, and they're like literally standing there giving him advice in the danger zone.
Yeah, and Gamera flies up. He's got Virus in there. He's high. He's so high up in the sky that Virus starts freezing to
Hmm.
death, and like it's like foam, like icy foam, is shooting out of his mouth.
Yeah, I thought that was the grossest thing I'd seen in this movie. Like it was like really gross foam coming out of his mouth, and that
Yeah,
yeah, before even he was turning to ice, I was like, what is going on?
yeah. And then there's a sequence. So like while Virus is impaled in Gamera, Gamera spins around as fast as he can. You just see Virus's like legs just dangling and
Hmm.
spinning, and easily one of the silliest moments I've ever seen in
Hmm.
a kaiju movie. And apparently that's so much that just almost kills Virus, and he's frozen, and he's so dizzy that he falls into the ocean, and then he just dissolves because he's frozen, and then the ocean eats him back up.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird death. I was expecting like, oh, he's frozen, get thrown to the ground, he shatters into pieces. No, he dissolves in the water and he's gone.
Yeah, because the ocean was hotter than the atmosphere.
Yeah, kind of an odd way to go about it, but I got it works. And then that's when everybody shows up. So like the two kids are on the beach the whole time, and then of course the monster's dead, and now they run to help him out.
Yeah, and like I said, this movie was that pretty much ends right there because they don't. There's not really much left to talk about with this
No.
one. Like once Virus is dead, the movie's pretty much over. But so like I said, so getting into the technical side of it, like this movie was dirt cheap to make. Like I said, it
Hmm.
was $50,000. I mean, just you see way bigger production movies back then. So of course that means it was a hit. It made a lot. It made money because it was made dirt cheap.
That's
So
funny.
it was such a big success in Japan that the studio asked director Yuasa if he can make two Gamera movie films per year after
Oh
this.
my God.
And Yuasa said that would be kind of impossible to do, but he said he would be open to making more Gamera movies. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just they're basically it's going to get even cheaper. So, I mean, spoiler alerts, Nathan. I hope you don't mind stock footage. So,
Oh no.
so um, this movie was never released theatrically in the U.S. It was only released on television because they said, and they actually interviewed Carl Craig Jim about it, and he said that when he was flipping through channels, because he went back to America, back to stateside, about a year later. Oh, and one other thing, he actually was still friends with the kid that played Masao,
Oh, that's
like
really cool.
afterwards. Yeah, and they said they would hang out together for like a year after the movie, and then he
I
moved
like
back to
that.
the states. But then he said, like when he was on the stateside, they was flipping through TV. He just saw himself on TV. He's like, oh my
I'm
god.
on the TV.
Yeah, Gamma versus Virus was just playing on TV. So, and like I said, this movie in America was called Destroy All Planets because around the same time, Destroy All Monsters came out.
Mhm.
So they wanted to capitalize on that branding
Makes
with
sense.
that one. So this one, like I said, it was not the most beloved one in terms of that one. The special effects definitely looked pretty cheap. Um, it was a little quirkier than a lot of the other Gamma movies, so we'll have to see what kind of trend keeps up from this one.
Hmm.
In my opinion, I mean, I liked it overall. I had a pretty good enough time with it. I mean, even without like to me, like even like the kids aboard like the alien spaceship was entertaining enough of a plot point. I mean, to me, I mean, so far Gauss is still my favorite. I mean, like that one, it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
it's like such it's so out there. It's just such feels like such a big production where it actually feels like everything was just kind of firing on all cylinders. This one, it's like okay, our hands are a little tied, but we're gonna do what we can. And just like I said, with the constant padding, and this one does bring down the rating for me on that somewhat. So if you do have the option to choose which one to do, I would definitely go for the shorter version. It does flow a lot better, as much as the stock footage they do use already. But in my mind, though, I would give it a recommend. I mean, if you like the other ones, I don't really think you would have a bad time with this one.
Yeah, so I get the kids stuff is really good, and it's funny because I only watched the theatrical. If I did it like you, I probably would feel the same way. But I don't love this one. I wish it
Yeah,
had more originality in it. I think that would make it like one of my favorites because that plot is really fun. But the stock footage use, like the dam scene goes on for it's like literally cut and paste. And I thought that was a little dull to do. I think it's okay overall. I mean, there's things I like, and those things I do really like. Um, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. So I think
mm-hmm.
we'll be split on this one.
Well, that's fine. We were split on the last one, kind of, but
Yeah.
but it's like I said, it's a mixed bag. I like I said, if you can get past the stock footage, I think you'll like it. But I mean, I could definitely see why somebody would be like, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to rewatch the first three Gamma movies in this one movie. Yeah, okay, whatever." And then just
Yeah, maybe if you had like a couple years apart, right?
well, let me ask you this: if there was no Gamma in this movie at all, let's just say it was like a completely different monster and with original footage, would this be a more satisfying movie to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I really think it's literally like I saw this scene like 2 months ago. I don't really want to rewatch it right now. If this was an original movie, I think I would be like, oh yeah, I'd recommend it. It was a good time.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay. No,
Hmm.
I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think it would have been a lot better, but
Hmm.
from what they had to work with, I think they accomplished what they wanted to do. So, um, but yeah, that is gonna do it for this one. Like I said, we're gonna get more into Dai. Dai is kind of crawling towards the end here. Like I said, they're not really making as much money, and Gamera's pretty much like their only golden goose at this point. So
Hmm.
we're going to see what happens moving forward. But Gamera will return and another Gamera fair. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, we're going to end Bonmara this week and we're going to move on to, I think we're going to be doing a special week next week, aren't we, Nathan?
Yes, we are. So at the time of recording, Roger Corman passed away, and so that he's honestly we've covered him multiple times. We reference him very often. So why not talk about him? He's like the B movie king. He's really important. We may make fun of him all the time, but he is an important movie figure. So I think we're both going to pick Corman movies next week. Um,
Sounds good. So what were we going to be covering on Tuesday then, Nathan?
well, whatever it is, one of Francis Ford Coppola's first movies. Um, yeah, and it's produced by Roger Corman, of course. But Ryan, what are we going to be covering on Thursday? Oh,
Well, Nathan, I
and it's streaming on Tubi.
terrific. Can't wait for that one. Well, Nathan, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to actually pick one of Roger Corman's directed movies that he
Okay.
did. So, and it's a movie I've actually wanted to see for a very long time, and it's always recommended as one of his more higher critically acclaimed movies, and that would actually be 1964's The Mask of the Red Death with Vincent
Mm,
Price. And
cool.
that one is actually free on YouTube right now. You can find that over there.
Hmm.
Please follow us on X at DIDF Pod and, check out the patreon.com/driving double feature podcast. And also, hey, send us a fan letter. Why not? My mailbox is bursting open waiting for it.
Might as
So
well
please
send a
send it
few
over.
more.
Yeah, if you send it back, I'll send back an 8x10. So
Okay.
can't wait to hear from your responses. But until next time.
Until next time.